professional membership, right? There's standards that we have to adhere to. Most of the zoos in the world, there's very little standard that they have to adhere to. So a lot of them are not very good representatives of what a zoo should be. The other thing, again, as I go back to government agencies, a lot of times because the government's looking for reasons to raise revenue, there's more permitting involved, there's more regulations involved, and there's more legitimate concern over moving of animals because of zoonotic diseases. That's become a big issue for us, is just going through the logistics of moving animals from one place to another, especially if you want to import them from a different country and you want to bring them into this country. Regulations are quite onerous. And the other thing is that people's attitude about zoos are changing. You know, it used to be people would come to the zoo because they wanted to look at animals or whatever. Now, people travel, people have different interests, people can see animals on TV in a way that they never used to be able to see. People are more activists, and this is not to say that it's wrong, they should be. And we should be held accountable on how we keep our animals and treat our animals, but it's just another variable that we have to deal with where people expect more from us. They expect us to maintain the highest standards. When they come to our parks, they expect to be treated with amenities and handled in a different way. And all these things continue to complicate how we do business and define our success, because we have to be good at all this stuff if we want people to come and support us. That's a picture of the Bronx Zoo right there. You can see the Bronx River that runs through it. So just look around there. I mean, that's one of the most heavily populated areas in the city, right? And there's this 265 acres of green right there. And again, the Botanical Gardens is just on the other side of Fordham Road. I alluded to before that it's really hard to do anything in New York because of the cost. And this is a recent project that we did. This is the building of the Madagascar building. It was in the old Lion House on Astor Court. This was part of a $100 million renovation that we did. You can see it did the Astor Court, the fountain, and the gardens as you come in. That's the Lion House as it looked in 1903, and this is the Lion House as we wanted to look at when it was Madagascar. So that was the design for the building. And we had sketches about, like I said, the curators and the design team have to come up with an envision of what you want this to be. You want to come up with an exhibit that's going to inspire people, that's going to be a great place for animals to live. And this is what we came up with. And it was going to recreate these environments from Madagascar inside this building in the Bronx, and we could show these charismatic species like this fox, which is actually the first exhibit when you come into the building. So in order to do that, we had to take the old building basically apart. And it was very challenging because it was a landmark building. If you know anything about landmarks, you have to stay true to the original footprint. So it was an existing building that we were trying to renovate. It was a landmark building, and the third whammy was that we were trying to make it a green renovation. So we had all green technologies in this building. So it made it very complicated and also made it very expensive. Throughout the whole process, it was just one complication after another. What we're doing here is, when we picked the species to put in there, we went with lemurs. In the holding areas, which is all in the lower floor, we had to excavate out the basement. So we had to jack that building up and then send those earth movers down there so that we could remove about 10 or 12 feet of the earth from the bottom of that building so we could build the holding areas that would have sufficient height that the lemurs would be able to be happy in the basement. And then we had to go in there and make the rock work, make the trees. All these artisans would come in and spray concrete and then hand carve it to make it look like rocks, the trees. And this is one habitat that we really kind of thought was going to be really dramatic, called the Singy Cave. That's what we envisioned for the crocodile exhibit in there. And we knew that this was probably going to be the most dramatic exhibit in the building. But we knew for it to be a success, we had to have the appropriate animals to exhibit in there. So we went to South Africa He is 14 feet long, about 950 pounds. And you can see that's me next to him, so he's big. And we had some logistic problems when we wanted to bring him into the building. This is us moving him into the building. And that's him when he's there with his mate in the building. And that's the exhibit. And that's the exhibit as it opens. So you can see it's really close to what we envisioned. It's almost like when you do a movie and you create a storyboard. It's the same thing when you're designing an exhibit, except your actors are crocodiles. And sometimes we don't get animals from the wild just for exhibits. Sometimes we do it because we have to save them. This is the Cahansi spray toad. This is probably one of the things that I'm most proud of in my tenure at the Bronx is we were able to save this little species of frog. They only lived in one tiny little place. And John Baylor actually was involved in this. John died about 4 or 5 years ago, but in the early years when he sent people over to Africa to collect these frogs, John was the head of that program. And what they did was, these frogs, they lived in this really small area that was a microclimate, where right by this waterfalls, and the waterfalls would come crashing down, and it would create this mist in this area, and this spray zone. And it created a little micro habitat, microclimate for these guys. They built a dam, the Tanzanians, because they needed to create more energy for the people that lived in Tanzania in the area. So when they built the dam, they changed the ecology of the area and they cut off the spray. When they cut off the spray, they killed the environment for the toads, and the toads were dying off. So there wasn't very many of them to begin with. But after this dam, local people saw that the populations of the toads in the wild were really decreasing. So in 2000, we sent people over there and collected almost 500 of them, 499 of the toads. And we brought them back to Toledo and the Bronx. And you can see we set them up in these elaborate terrariums, and we have a constant mist on them to recreate the spray toad environment, the spray zone environment for the toads. And they're part of, we're really dedicated to it. We have probably about 8,000 of these animals now between us and Toledo, and we're happy to report that just probably 4 months ago we sent the first group of them back to Tanzania for repatriation. So the first thing is to see if the Tanzanian people can keep them alive over there in their habitat, and then after that they're going to do a soft release where they're going to be released back into the wild, and hopefully they'll be able to survive in that recreated environment over there. So whether it's working, setting up these exhibits and habitats at the zoo, or doing the field work, what we really want to do is protect wildlife for future generations. I mean, that's what it's all about. Again, to go back to Conway's model, there's no justification for us to keep animals in the zoo just for the sake of keeping animals in the zoo. What we have to do is that we use those animals, one, as ambassadors to get the word out to people so people can understand the importance of conserving animals, conserving wildlands, conserving wildlife. But also we have to use those animals and the knowledge we gain from keeping those animals to help save existing wild populations that are still out there now. And that's what we work really hard to do. And I always like to close with this picture because that's one of my favorite photographs from Jungle World. And if you look at that and you see that photograph, you say, man, that's an exhibit in a zoo in the Bronx. And if you can use that kind of imagination to create something that inspires people to care about animals and populations all over the world, then I think we've met our mission and we've met our goal. So that's what we try to do. And I tried to get done in 15 minutes. I almost did it, but I apologize that I was long. Thank you very much.